Within the last few seconds, what was already a terrible situation got a lot worse. Police just came over to us seconds before we went on air and told us there are 2 more victims. We're about a half-mile away in this field, and when we were here today, we found chunks of that roof all the way over here, pieces of shingle. There's even a piece of plywood, and on this home right next to us here, pieces of the insulation from the top of that roof stuck to the side of this building. I'll show you what we're talking about. You go to one spot here, there's nothing on the ground because the wind has taken all that snow, picked it up and moved it around. Then you move back to a spot like this, all the way along this walkway, you can see where the snow is piled up. The message tonight, pretty much the opposite of that graffiti that appeared 1 week ago. This is just one example of a lot of signs. Luckily right now, there's a lot of shade out here because the sun is behind the Capitol Dome. Here's a thermometer we've had out for a while. It's reading just under 100 right now. That's in the shade. Before, this spot was all sun and it was reading just over 120. Witnesses here at Extreme World paint a chilling picture of a 12-year-old girl taken to the top of this white pyramid-shaped ride to begin what was supposed to be a free fall adventure. Well, when she was released and began falling, the net that was supposed to catch her did not. John and Lee, it's bad enough for anyone to lose their business, and when you don't even have a place to go home to, it's pretty hard to look for the positive, but that is exactly what this family's doing.
Sunday night, a fire rips apart this historic building.
We had to pull our interior crews, attack crews out.
And with every gallon of water sprayed, yet another assurance, not much inside would make it.
You can't fathom how it feels to watch for 5 hours, everything that you've worked so hard your entire life just burn away.
Tara Norland lost her home, the apartment upstairs, and her dress and bridal business located in the retail space below. And as if that wasn't bad enough, she had planned to talk to an agent about getting insurance on the building today. It's too late.
Now it's just begging and praying and hoping that we can salvage what we can.
Here in front of the building, you can see all the debris that is spilled out. This whole pile of stuff is from the stairwell alone. This family is now just hoping that there is something, anything at all, that they can salvage from inside.
But if you think this family lost everything, you might not understand them. They have the friends who came by all day with cards and hugs of support. They have a giving community already helping. And most importantly, they have each other, all alive and all healthy.
It was Coach purses and North Face jackets were everything, and when you realize you have nothing but the dress that I was wearing that day and a pair of flip-flops, Coach purses don't matter anymore, you know?
Yeah.
It just matters that my brother's okay.
15-year-old Jordan Lassie was inside the apartment upstairs when the fire started.
The whole house was filled with smoke.
He tried to use a fire extinguisher to put out the flames, but when the smoke became too much, he ran outside, leaving without even having the shoes on his feet.
I'm just glad I'm here. My family's okay and everything.
It's a family with nothing left but each other, and that is certainly something.
Family, friends, the community, they all have been very helpful.
This afternoon, that business owner and family were actually able to get their hands on some of those dresses inside the building and say that they hope, with the help of some dry cleaning, they'll be able to salvage some of them. Hey, John and Lee, there are still plenty of protesters flowing in and out of the Capitol building tonight, and the people here are angry. Tonight is the closest thing we've seen in 3 weeks to what you might describe as a controlled chaos. There are some doors and windows that have been broken in. Police actually handcuffed some doors shut on the inside, and some of the people marching outside have called for a general strike. All of this the product of what has been a very tense and unexpected few hours.
When the Capitol closed and doors locked, an angry group of people stopped at nothing to get inside. Our cameras caught them crawling in 2 different sets of bathroom windows and then being let in an upstairs door before Capitol Police came to stop them. The frustration started 3 hours earlier with the announcement the budget repair bill was heading to conference committee. The Capitol Rotunda was packed, most gathering and shouting outside Senate chambers. Outside, hundreds lined up to get in, many now reaching their breaking point.
I feel like I'm going to throw up. I'm a teacher in this state. I love this state. I've lived here since I was 4 years old, and I can't see myself staying here and teaching the children of this state any longer without collective bargaining.
Word quickly spread the committee meeting was to strip out fiscal portions of the bill, allowing Senate Republicans to vote on eliminating collective bargaining with the Democrats out of state.
It seems rather sneaky to me. I think it's underhanded.
The Senate Republicans have now passed the bill, and the crowd outside the Capitol that was angry before is still here, not impressed, they say, with what they've witnessed.
This is the worst, most awful, wrong thing. And how dare the Republicans claim to be the party that's more patriotic than the Democrats? You know what? You just went your way. I teach kindergartners that have better skills than you do.
Many protesters refused to leave the building once the Senate wrapped up, now doing anything to have their voices heard.
It does not stop right here. It starts right here.
Right now, there are still hundreds of people inside the Capitol building, and as you can see, these doors behind me are now wide open. Many of these people actually brought in sleeping materials and vowed they will spend the night here. It's setting up what is sure to be a very tense day again tomorrow. Live at the state capitol, Chris Woodard, NBC 15 News.
They try to make it easy for you to protect your family. More than 22,000 registered sex offenders in the state of Wisconsin. And all their information you need to keep your kids safe. Only a keystroke away. At least that's how it's supposed to work. Unless they don't want to be found.
As a mom, is it something that, how much does it concern you?
100 and some %.
54-year-old Glenn Holton told police he'd be living in this Janesville home. We checked.
Is there a Glenn that lives here?
No, there's not.
Holton, a man convicted of second-degree sexual assault of a child, is on the run. The people now living at the home have already been there for 45 days.
You watch the neighbors, of course.
Kyra Vinker lives across the street and has a 10-year-old son. She's worried. No one knows where Holton is.
You have to keep watching out to see if he's going to come back, to see if, maybe he doesn't know somebody moved in there now, and, that he's back in the area.
Holton is one of 1,500 registered sex offenders the state lists as non-compliant.
In my own neighborhood right here in Madison, there are 8 registered sex offenders, but 2 not living where they're supposed to.
It's a neighborhood full of children. We went to Charles Walker's last listed address, this apartment on Ashford Lane. His name isn't on the buzzer. The state says he didn't respond to their last check.
Very disturbing, yes.
3 blocks away, an apartment Dwayne Carter lists as home. No answer at the door, and the landlord tells us he's never lived there.
The state should know where they're at. What if someone came missing and we don't know where they're at?
In Dane County alone, 106 of 831, or about 12%, of sex offenders required to register are currently not compliant.
It's a good system.
Lance Wiersma is the director of Wisconsin Sex Offender Programs.
We investigate each and every one of the individuals who are non-compliant, and our primary goal is to bring that person back into compliance so the registry reflects accurate information about where that person is and what they're doing.
The Department of Corrections periodically sends letters to the home where a sex offender says he or she is living. If they don't respond to that letter, they become not compliant. Wiersma says at times it can just be a misunderstanding, and he points out 93% of registered sex offenders in the state are compliant.
Police.
But those trying to disappear become targets for local law enforcement. Oftentimes, corrections working with U.S. Marshals to hunt them down.
Tonight, the Madison Police Department needs your help.
And putting their mug out there for all the public to see. Wisconsin's Most Wanted website has the worst of the worst offenders police desperately want to find, some on the run for years.
We've been successful in tracking the majority of those people down and making sure that the right individuals are prosecuted and held accountable.
The information is supposed to be there to make it easy for parents. Sadly, not everyone is playing by the rules.
He moved out a while ago now?
In Madison, Chris Woodard, NBC 15 News.